Welcome to Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake, and it's too delightful not to cover live. We're covering the vote for House Speaker. Let me give you a quick little update here. Hey, there's a known sex trafficker. Kevin McCarthy has now lost 5 votes for Speaker of the House. It's delightful to watch. 20. It is up to 20 members of the GOP have now voted for against him. They voted for this fella named Donalds, of which I actually don't know too much about. I don't think it entirely matters yet. He's the flavor of the day. That present vote, I wonder if that was Santos. Maybe he's in the others, because George Santos just wasn't paying attention in the 5th round, and he missed his chance to vote, and that was pretty darn funny. But it's irrelevant because McCarthy needs no more than 4 people in the grand old party to not vote for him in order to not have the 218 votes necessary. Rather embarrassingly, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrats' choice for House Speaker, has consistently beat him. I'm not sure how this is going to shake out. I am increasingly certain this is a third-party push of some kind by those 20 House Republicans. I do think they see which way the wind is going. I do think they understand that the game they play with politics can only last so long in their current environment. Republican voters can be divided into those that don't care about any platform, any policy, but simply have a couple of conspiracies that they cosplay believing in, that they make a hobby of trying to build up and do the lore for, and those that genuinely believe the lies that the GOP tells. When I say lies, they don't necessarily lie about what they're going to do. They lie about what the results of their actions will be. They say they're going to cut taxes for the rich. They usually just end it at cut taxes and don't mention that it's for the rich, but they do say they're going to cut taxes. And a lot of GOP voters hear that and believe, good, I don't want to pay as much to the government. And then that is followed by the rich getting their taxes cut, the regular folks sometimes getting their taxes increased, but always, America trying to fund its schools and police and roads with less money. Now that plays nicely into what the standard GOP, the 201 votes up there, frequently follow up with, which is saying, why would you give money to the government? The government can't get things done. Give it to private business. And so on and so forth. I say this all so that you understand, at least you have the context for why I have zero sympathy for any of these people. Goose egg. It's a big old goose egg. Now that said, poor McCarthy, who again I don't actually feel bad for, has been trying to get this job for like a decade. Last time he had this opportunity, he had to step down because it was clear he didn't have the votes. He's embarrassed himself in pursuit of it multiple times, and to have him get to this point where he has already moved his stuff into the speaker's office, and then simply didn't get it. It looks like he's not going to get it. Oh, that's got to break his heart, right? I kind of hope. Will we actually see him cry? I don't want to get too cruel, but secretly a little bit, I kind of do. All right. So what to look out for? Number one, if Jake has an itchy ankle, that means there's Terry's about. I seize him. Number two, definitely look out for any of those 20, of which would include Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, yada, yada. Talking about the problems of Republicans in broad strokes. Look for them saying real things that are wrong with Republicans, such as taking too many corporate donations. They basically just are the executive wing of the corporate party, I guess. Don't think I'm giving a pass on Democrats. I'm certainly not. Those that take donations from corporate super PACs, etc., etc. I'm going to pause this for are also quite corrupt. I just want to point those out. Those kids are there, most likely in the hope of seeing a relative of theirs sworn into Congress. I believe those kids were there yesterday, too. It's a small casualty of this, but it highlights what a bizarre situation we're in. People were bringing their kids here because they didn't think for a moment this would go more than a day. Hasn't for more than 100 years. We're hearing those 20 outliers, I suppose, in the GOP, talking like they're in for the long haul because their main negotiating, their sticking point, I suppose, is that they do not want Kevin McCarthy in office. Why don't they want him in? Honestly, it could be something as small as petty personal politics. I happen to think they see weakness, they see an ability to strike, and they're taking it. I think their goal is either to become a voting bloc that leads the GOP, which, no joke, that's kind of what progressives need to do with the Democrats. Not with these tactics, necessarily, because the overall harm they are doing to the GOP is just... We'll go into that in a moment. It's fantastic. But progressives do need to take control of the Democrats. We should be the guiding light. But I think they are trying. I think the GOP outliers are trying to either get control of the Republican Party functionally, or just full on go mask off third party. That made me get to thinking about how realistic is a party breakup in the U.S. Because if we're going to be real about this, we are as different, or progressives are as different from MAGA as night is to day. Where it's like Captain Planet and Captain Pollution, though. If you watched the 90s Saturday morning cartoon Captain Planet, you can infer from context what the difference are. They are... Captain Pollution was evil Captain Planet. They could both, I think, fly and have super strength or whatever, but obviously, ideologically, these two are at opposite ends. Well, that's Captain Progressive and Captain MAGA. Ideologically at opposite ends. Do not compare them ideologically. However, where we stand within our parties, what our respective parties think of us, is quite similar. And the comparisons will be made again and again and more going forward. So a couple of things. Number one, progressives are smarter, which means they think more long term, which means they are less likely to do something as wild as separate themselves on the actual ballot from Democrats. It's simply, it's cutting yourself off from a lot of party resources unnecessarily. It's putting yourself at odds with people that largely agree with you, at least when they are in front of a microphone talking to people. They vote very differently than that, but they do largely agree with you. And it's painting a target on you. Progressives don't take big corporate money. Conservative Democrats do. To me, all I see when I hear that is that if progressives started a third party, what we would have is big corporations funding ads that would... Oh, Matt Gaetz, he's wheeling and dealing. Look, we're going to talk about Gaetz in detail in a minute here because he is a central figure in this. Credit where it's due. He is doing what you would want to see if you were trying to increase that number from 20 to, let's say, 22, 24 next round. Next round, though, I think might be even worse than that. I think we're likely to see. Traditional Republicans say, "Okay, McCarthy ain't it. Who we really voting for?" And they got to make sure that that's somebody MAGA agrees with, which means MAGA will be the people controlling the Republican Party. Back to progressives and a potential split. If there were an actual label change and people who were serious about helping Americans as opposed to pleasing corporations were to say, we're not with the Democrats anymore, you would have a flood of corporate-funded ads. And we talked about also why the rules allow for this. But literally, a corporation could just buy an infinite amount of ads against them, crushing progressives. And everybody who doesn't really follow politics would just hear progressive crazy, progressive bad. Oh, progressives are like the left-wing version of MAGA then. Oh, we got it. We can't have that. You'd see comparisons constantly. So no. That ain't it. However, it's also time to understand that what you're seeing up there is going to keep happening. Either MAGA starts a third party using this incident, this very incident you are seeing happen now, which is yet another one that's going to wind up in history books. Either you're seeing the beginning of a third party, or you're seeing MAGA taking over the Republican Party. They do love their coups. This being I'm being facetious in the use of the word coup. Let's not forget we had an actual coup attempt on January 6, 2021. Or you're seeing the MAGA wing taking over the Republican Party. Regardless, remember how I said at the beginning, there are Republicans who genuinely believe the lies they are told by the party. They genuinely believe that when they give tax cuts to billionaires, that's somehow helpful to the common man. Well, some of them get into office, and the House of Representatives, by the way, is the largest office that is seen nationally, that is national, that you can get at the state level if you don't have a ton of experience. So a lot of them are going to see MAGA controlling the show and think, I'm sick of this. I signed up for dog whistling about races, but not actually being an outright racist. I signed up for slowly draining the resources of the American people while smiling and pretending to be sympathetic, not blatantly being a pawn of more powerful people. What are they going to do? I give you Ted Lieu. They are going 100%. Oh, Nancy, you're still hustling, even in the twilight. All right, I don't like her, but I gotta respect her hustle. They're going to join Democrats. The folks that have come into the Republican Party believing the lies. I mean, the old-fashioned Republican lies, are going to look around, see what it really is. They're going to get embarrassed by this. They control the House. They can't get the House Speaker appointed, excuse me. Would it be elected? They can't appoint a House Speaker. There it is. And they're going to know that there's plenty of room for conservatives in the Democratic Party. In fact, the Democratic Party, when you look at its actual voting record, pretty conservative, pretty pro-big business. We have people like Joe Manchin, who owns coal mines, who does nothing but try to stop green energy from being a focus of American politics, who does nothing but betray the American people and vote for harmful bills when it's politically useful to them. They will see, oh, look, there's plenty of traditional conservatives, and they'll go there. I mean, that's good. Believe it or not, that is good. Because you know what? These are people who will find themselves suddenly held to account for the first time, and fortunately not so, because they're most likely going to be young politicians. And so young in terms of new is what I mean, I suppose. New politicians, so not too deep into their various Republican crimes that they can't get out. So they'll act a little more right, a little more legally, I suppose. That's a prediction. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm just seeing 20 people calling the shots up there. They didn't want McCarthy. Looks like they're not going to have McCarthy. The traditional Republicans are way too embarrassed by this. They don't want to keep it going forever. So they're going to bow down. And this will not be the last time it happens, because they're going to have to agree to a MAGA choice for House Speaker. So we're going to get an influx over the next couple of years of right-wing Democrats. This is, in my opinion, likely the end of the Republican Party. In some ways, I want to celebrate. But what it is being replaced with is just American Taliban. literal Christian nationalists, as in they campaigned on that shit. What we will have to do as progressives is be aware of who's on our team. And at some point, we may have to consider how we do a somewhat less destructive version of the same thing, take over the party.
Will the House be in order?
Yes, it can.
Will the House be in order?
Oh, the suspense. Let's
The
hear those
tellers
votes.
agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 433, of which the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 212.
Whoa! That's real close to 218. Just get a 6.
The Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California has received 201. The Honorable Byron Donalds of the state of Florida has received 20. With one recorded as present. No member-elect having received a majority of the votes cast, a speaker has not been elected. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Florida rise?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I rise today to nominate Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the People's House.
Round 6.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
My colleagues, well, it's Groundhog Day. Again, and if it's all right with you, I would like to... Thank you, Madam Clerk. If it's all right with you all, I would like to address not you, but the American people. Because, quite frankly,
That's us.
they are...
Somebody just boo the American people?
Well, we don't have a speaker yet. So, the American people, well, they are our boss, and we work for them. Yesterday, as we were here on the House floor, our constituents from all around the country made their voices heard. Today, the calls, the text messages, emails, they all continue. People are letting their voice be heard, and that is a very, very good thing.
Sure. I don't know why they have to give a speech every time.
Because that is what we are, after all, a constitutional republic that serves all Americans, not just a select few. To all Americans watching right now, I want to tell you that we hear you. We hear you. And we will get this right. No matter how messy this process is, we will emerge better for having been through this. Because nothing great ever comes easy.
By the way,
For the last several
you
months,
appreciate,
negotiations have gone back and
live
forth
political content
over a
like
rules
this,
package to make
if
this
you
chamber,
appreciate left-wing
your
content,
chamber,
I would very much appreciate
a better
like
place
and maybe
to
even a
deliver better
subscribe.
results for you, the American people. And I want to remind everyone
Also, fine
watching,
mustaches.
listening here in this chamber, that this chamber and this body, our country, we are bigger than a single person or a single moment in time. We
Sure.
are a nation collectively of great people, great patriots, and great moments of courage. The rules package that has been highlighted by so many of my colleagues dictates how this chamber functions, how bills come to the floor, how much time we get to read these bills, whether or not we will get single-issue bills, and whether or not we can vote proxy. And as you have witnessed from events yesterday, so many people have said, what are the next steps? What will we accomplish if we continue down this current path? Will we wake up tomorrow and be in this exact same place? The people calling my office said over and over and over again, it is time to get to work. Anything less is unacceptable. And you know, as we stood on this House floor yesterday, and again today, over 200 people were poisoned from fentanyl. Fentanyl that came from an open border because of the Biden open border policy.
Oh, Jesus.
Over 5,000 people were encountered at the border because of Biden's open border policies. These are the issues that people care about. They don't sit around their kitchen tables at night saying, I wonder who's going to be speaker. No, they elect people to come here to do the things that matter, the issues that impact them every single day. And in an era of uncertainty,
to bleed the country on behalf of corporations,
is uncertainty within this chamber. We were elected to be the voice of our constituents. We are their voice in this chamber. And they didn't send us to be perpetual critics. They sent us to get things done.
They sent us to get terrible things done.
And as we all know, because after all, we are in politics.
Not going to lie, though, that dress is kind
the
of
line
fun.
of critics
I like the contrast.
is
it's very
always
sharp.
long.
I'm a fashion guy.
But the list of
pin.
those that are actually rolling up their sleeves and doing the difficult job of leading,
I kind of like the pin.
of uniting, of delivering results, especially in a chamber like this, well, that list is very short. Kevin McCarthy has proved that he can get things done. He has proven that he is willing to stand up in the face of critics and not only prove them wrong, but work with them. The only thing sovereign in this republic are its people.
Work for them.
And they have deemed it right to place a check
he will bend
on the
over
Biden
backwards
administration
for anybody for
and
a
put
very
our
small
party,
amount of money.
the Republican Party, in control of this chamber. Now is the time that we take control. I understand a lack of trust among some of our colleagues. I do.
Yeah, none of you should trust any of you.
Will the House be in order?
I understand a lack of trust among some of our colleagues. But what I am asking is that we all trust the American people who sent our colleagues here. This House is the only part of the federal government that stands for election every 2 years. Therefore, this chamber is an instrument of the people's will. And the people have overwhelmingly voted for Kevin McCarthy.
No, they did not. It is
if we
interesting,
continue
though,
down this
that
road, if we continue
traditional Republicans
with the actions
are sticking
of yesterday
with McCarthy,
and today,
even this late in the game.
we stifle the will of the American people. The changes to the rules of this place and how it functions have been overwhelmingly positive in the last few weeks. Legislation stands ready. It is time to unite, roll up our sleeves, and get to work doing the people's business. The gentleman, my friend, Kevin McCarthy from California, has done more than anyone in this chamber to secure a Republican majority. Many of the people who are members here today are, quite frankly, here because of his leadership, because they have trusted him, and he has gone out of his way to make sure that every single one of us has had a voice at the table. Furthermore, every single returning Republican in this chamber who cast a vote 2 years ago in the last Congress voted for Kevin McCarthy as our leader. We were united then, and we must unify now. That's the only way to start the people's business, the very reason that we're all here. It's to unify and get to work. Because we must commit to unity instead of division, because we owe it to the American people who sent us here. We must choose to lead in the face of a liberal Senate and Obama's JV team in the White House. We owe it to the American people. The American people sent a conservative majority to govern this body, but we cannot even begin to govern because, heck, we can't even swear in as members of Congress. I've traveled the country for the last 2 years as the youngest Republican woman in the 117th Congress, helping to secure a majority of members who are on both sides of today's Republican vote. Diversity of thought is a good thing. It's one of the things that sets us apart from our friends on the other side of the aisle. Yes, diversity of thought is a good thing. But they want us divided. They want us to fight each other. That much has been made clear by the popcorn and blankets and alcohol that is coming over there. The House is not in order.
It certainly isn't.
The House is not in order.
Oh, I love it. Oh, the bouncing foot.
The clerk would ask all members-elect to abide by the established decorum of the House while making nominations.
First black woman clerk of the House. Oh, wait. Nope.
Gentlewoman
Yes.
is recognized.
Yeah. Gets to lead. They're accidentally, what a perfect analogy.
As
They're
evidenced
accidentally
by my colleagues' actions.
letting America progress by being a bunch of morons.
So today I am asking my friends and colleagues, are we the party of Reagan Republicans? Reagan, who said, someone who is
You
with
very
me
much are, but not in the way you
80%
think.
of the time is a loyal and good friend, not a 20% traitor. Are we the party of Reagan? That is the question that
Reagan,
I ask
who
you
laughed about
to
racial
answer
slurs with
as
Richard
we
Nixon
embark
on a
on
phone
this
call
next
that
ballot.
has been recently released.
It's upon us to remain a nation of equal opportunity, not equal outcome.
When he was
That
governor.
is what is on the line here today, and that is why I am nominating Kevin McCarthy, and I humbly ask for your support. Madam Clerk, I yield back.
We need to go back to dog whistles and not outright saying what we think.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California rise?
Madam Clerk, I rise to nominate Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House, the lead vote getter in the last 5 rounds.
The gentleman is recognized.
Woo! Oh, yes. Get him. And that's unity. That's unity. Progressives and corporate Dems. Like,
Madam
hey, we
Clerk,
both know we don't want
Madam Clerk,
Nazis.
Democrats are united behind a Speaker who will build safer communities. He's a leader in gun violence prevention. He has worked to make our criminal justice system more fair, more equitable, and more effective, and he's done it working with both sides of the aisle. A leader who has a track record in actually getting things done. And he understands that public safety, public health, and economic opportunity must go hand in hand. That's why, at the direction of the Democratic caucus, I advance the name of Hakeem Jeffries from Brooklyn, New York, as our next Speaker for the 118th Congress.
Woo! A little there.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania rise?
Madam Speaker, to nominate the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Donalds.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter what your political persuasion,
Yesterday, Jordan
one
was
thing
their
is
guy.
universally recognized across
But
this
he's
country.
sticking with the
Washington
corporate
is broken. Washington is completely broken. Whether it's a wide open border,
True.
millions of people
Well, not true.
streaming across, terrorists, criminals, fentanyl coming right to your community. Not at the border, but into your
I
community.
noticed they're not going as hard on the trans stuff
Overdoses
after that didn't win any
happening
elections.
in your towns, funerals happening in your town because the border's open, because this place is broken.
So
12 days
looks
ago,
like brown people are
in
the
the middle of the night,
next
4,000 pages
target.
showed up over here.
Sam
Six and a
Theater
half
was correct
or
when he predicted that yesterday.
1.7, sorry, $1.7 trillion in spending, 7,200 earmarks, 24 hours time to read it, like a Christmas tree right before Christmas, that nobody outside of this town wanted. If you've been here for 1 year, you voted on that once. If you've been here for 3 years, you voted on the same thing 3 times. If you've been here for 10 years, you voted on it 10 times. Washington is broken. We got crime running across the streets, no matter what community you're in, because now this town has decided that somehow the criminals aren't understood, and we've abandoned the victims. This is what people in our country are dealing with. We are funding wars in other countries while we're destroying our own military because this town is broken. We have an administration that has contempt for the American people and is using these big corporations to spy on Americans and using the instruments of federal power to persecute and prosecute them because this town is broken. And this place is literally broken. There hasn't been an amendment on the floor for 6 years in this town. So if you're not on the committee of jurisdiction, but it affects your citizens, well, too bad for you. You just vote yes or you just vote no. That's not how this place was designed to be. We vote on bills that have all kinds of things that have nothing to do with the bill itself. Everybody came here because they said to their constituents, this town is broken, and I want to fix it. Well, how are you going to fix it if you come to this town and just step right in line and keep doing the same things that everybody has done before you? It's not going to fix it, and the American people know it.
Ooh, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I would say this.
Not.
I think the person that has done the most,
a good
that has
time.
done the most
Pick the
to
wrong
make
horse,
this fabulous,
it looks
this wonderful Republican majority, is Speaker Pelosi and her policies.
Let me get that sip.
That's what has achieved this majority over here because the American people are sick and tired of it, and they've had enough of it. Now, this is not about personalities. It's not about personalities. It's about the policies that come out of here. This is not about personalities on this side of the aisle or that side of the aisle. We believe, and we want to believe, we believe, and we want to believe that every person that comes here, left, right, center, has the best intentions for our country. The best intentions for our country. And it's not about the personalities in this contest. It is not personal for us.
As Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the frame.
Because we all acknowledge and we all know that Washington is broken, we must take a new path. There must be a new vision so that Congress works for the American people. Because the American people are watching what's happening here, and they've watched what's happened here, and they're sure in their hearts, and they can prove it, that this town works for this town. That's who this town is working for. Ladies and gentlemen, we are making history today. We are making history in this process. And we are showing the American people that this process works. Yeah, it's been about 100 years. It's been about 100 years since this has happened before. But we have said we're not going to take any more of Washington being broken. We're going to do something for the American people, and we're going to fix it. And is it going to be painful? And is it going to be difficult? Yeah, it probably is. That's why it took 100 years. It probably is. But we're going to do it.
Yeah,
and we can also
they're definitely going for that
third
party push. Or taking
by
over
making the
Republic.
first.
Will the House be in order?
By electing the first Black Republican Speaker of the House. Yes, thank you. Now, as my colleagues probably know, the first Black members of Congress to serve in this body were Republicans.
Just reminded me of something.
Were Republicans. As a matter of fact, you probably also know that Frederick Douglass, who went and worked with Abraham Lincoln to emancipate the people of color in this country, said he would never be anything but a Republican, would never be anything but a Republican. I am here to nominate Byron Donalds because he has accomplished many things. He is a man of faith. He is a family man. He is a businessman, and he is a man of community service. He's come from the school of hard knocks, because not all outcomes in life are equal, but America is the place where we can each do great things regardless of our humble beginnings, each one of us. Now, Byron is a product of single family where it's not easy. It's not easy. But he has succeeded in America, and that's a testament to what we have created here and what we're trying to save. He's got a record of accomplishing things. He has a record of being on the right side. He is respected, he is trusted, he is capable, and he achieves results. Now, Byron has a big mind, and he's big in stature as well. He's very nice, but I will tell you this, in a negotiation with Chuck Schumer, I should want to be on the other side of Byron Donalds. He knows who he is, he knows what his foundation is, and he knows that Washington is broken, and what Chuck Schumer sends over here isn't going to work out for the American
people.
Glad
he changed the praise to
Ladies and gentlemen,
the guy's actual legislation.
Washington is broken. Byron Donalds will
Can't stress
inspire
enough,
us
this guy
and
is
restore
sided
our
with
citizens'
MAGA.
faith that this institution
Not a good person.
actually works for them. And it is my highest honor to nominate the gentleman from Florida, Byron Donalds, to be the next Speaker of the House, and I yield.
The reading clerk will call the roll.
Adams. Jeffries. Adderholt. McCarthy. Aguilar. Jeffries. Alford. McCarthy.
Before the show later
Allen.
today, I am gonna. I
McCarthy.
got finally a clip from the Majority Report talking about
Jeffries. Emonet.
Gomez in New York.
McCarthy. Armstrong.
The
McCarthy.
court nominee.
Arrington.
Anyway, they have an
McCarthy.
interesting breakdown of how Republicans,
Auchincloss.
not Republicans,
Jeffries.
conservatives view identity
Babbitt.
politics.
McCarthy. Bacon. McCarthy. Baird.
Right now, I'm looking to see
McCarthy.
if the Donald's number
Alderson.
grows.
McCarthy. Valance. Jeffries. Banks. McCarthy. Barr. McCarthy. Bedagan. Jeffries. Bean of Florida.
Sixth vote.
McCarthy. Beatty.
I hope. Ooh, I hope
Jeffries.
Jeffries gets all six.
Vance.
Looks like it's gonna be the case.
McCarthy. Barra. Jeffries. Bergman. Bergman. Beyer. Jeffries. Bice. McCarthy. Biggs. Donalds.
Boom.
Bilirakis. McCarthy.
The record, I
Bishop
am
of
not
Georgia.
rooting for Donald
Jeffries.
to somehow get it. It's also impossible. for him to
Bishop
get
of
it.
North
I
Carolina.
just think it's hilarious
Donalds.
watching the GOP delay their evil machinations for yet another day.
Jeffries.
Bear this in mind as well.
Blunt
These
Rochester.
people None of them
Jeffries.
are used to putting in an actual day
Boebert.
of work. The fact that they have to stay here,
Boebert.
Boebert didn't hear the first time.
Donalds.
The fact that they have to stay here and do their
Bonamici.
job and people are watching them
Jeffries.
is like killing them. They're like, oh,
Bast.
I normally just phone it in. Now I have to work.
Bast.
Ugh. Come on, I'll give you one more Donalds.
McCarthy. Bowman. Jeffries. Boyle of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Burkeen.
Give me one more Donalds. Ah!
Donalds.
And no McCarthy yet again.
Brown. Jeffries.
Oh,
Brownlee.
Gates hasn't gone.
Jeffries.
Gates is going to be number 5.
Buchanan.
Hilarious.
McCarthy. Buck. Buck.
You love it.
Bouchon.
Just miss Buck.
McCarthy. Budzinski. Jeffries. Burchett. McCarthy.
Too good.
Burgess. McCarthy. Burleson. McCarthy. Bush. Jeffries. Calvert. McCarthy. Kamek. McCarthy.
Oh, my gosh.
Caraveo.
All right, so well, there.
Jeffries.
Ooh, there you go.
Carbajal. Jeffries. Cardenas.
I like some of the drama. I never want to miss
Jeffries.
when some of these people
Carey.
are caught on camera
McCarthy.
being themselves. 'Cause it's always what they don't
Carl.
want you to see. AKA George
McCarthy.
Santos with his mission. His tie was
Carson.
improperly tied, like comically improperly.
Jeffries. Carter
It
of
cuts to
Georgia.
him last vote. He's just sitting there like
Carter of Louisiana.
calling his name. A name
Jeffries.
that might be
Carter
just
of
made
Texas.
up. We don't know.
McCarthy.
You love
Cartwright.
it. Love to see it.
Jeffries. Kassar.
Jeffries. I like that little touch on
Jeffries.
there. Oh,
Case.
and the fact that it's not. I'm so glad that
Caston.
Pelosi's stepping down, and we don't have to
Jeffries.
see Pelosi up there with 28 next year.
Castor of
Also, so
Florida.
glad that progressives
Jeffries.
stayed online. They're sticking
Castro
with
of
Democrats.
Texas.
They get. I mean, they've
Jeffries.
always been savvier, but they get in this
Chavez
moment
DeRemer.
why it's important to show America
McCarthy.
the contrast between Republicans and Democrats.
Sure,
I'm
Phyllis
glad that we
McCormick.
have not seen
Jeffries.
Democrats jumping ship.
Chu.
I am
Jeffries. Cicilline. Jeffries.
okay. I'm
Siscomani.
didn't want to be made a fool of right then.
McCarthy.
Yeah, I'm glad we haven't seen corporate Democrats
Clark
doing
of
that nonsense
Massachusetts.
where they're like, "Oh, boom,
Jeffries.
in the lead."
Clark of New York. Jeffries.
I'm glad we haven't seen
Cleaver.
them betray us for
Jeffries.
what they perceive to be a
Klein.
political win
McCarthy.
for themselves. It's great.
Cloud. Donalds.
I'll turn down their volume just a bit. So listen,
Clyburn. Jeffries.
I've been doing speculation about, oh, this is a third-party push by MAGA, or they're trying to take over the party. Still think that's accurate, but let's focus on what we know right now for a moment, and what we are
Cohen.
gaining by this. We are gaining,
Jeffries.
number one,
Cole.
a
McCarthy.
clear demonstration to the American people of what happens when you put Republicans in charge. America has never paid this much attention to politics.
Jeffries.
This is a historic event, as has been said many times, because it is worth noting.
Costa.
Hadn't happened for 100
Jeffries.
years. I think it was 1923 last time.
Jeffries.
They also bring up the fact that in 1885 it was demonstrated this can go on for months. When was the last time this happened? 1923, when we had major civil unrest in the country. That's also when Confederate statues were going up, and there was a resurgence of the KKK. Not a surprise that this is happening at the same time.
McCarthy.
Not a coincidence.
Crockett. Jeffries.
So we have a lot of Americans paying attention to politics. We are showing them. It was before this happened.
Cuellar.
Just about anybody who followed it even a little bit knew Republicans only managed to get control of the House. They did not get the Senate. Well, look at the House.
Davids of Kansas.
This is what happens when Republicans are in control.
Jeffries.
It is chaos. It is a bunch of self-serving people
Davis of
failing
Illinois.
to get things done.
Jeffries.
Or when they inevitably get things done, getting it done with a great loss to America.
Dean of Pennsylvania.
If you,
Jeffries.
oh, there's that fitty.
DeGette.
If you
Jeffries. De La
believe that our representatives
Cruz. McCarthy.
ought to be working for their paychecks,
DeLauro.
then seeing this, where they're sitting around
Bene.
failing to even
Jeffries.
turn the key in the ignition,
Deluzio. Jeffries.
is bad.
Jeffries.
So we are having right now,
Deschanel.
constantly, now for the 6th time, demonstrations of how bad it is to have Republicans in charge of anything. And average folks,
McCarthy.
I would say, if you're watching this political live stream on a brand new YouTuber on a brand new YouTuber's channel, then you are
Donald.
probably not the average American. You probably follow.
Donalds.
You gotta vote for yourself, obviously. Good man.
Duarte.
Then you're probably not the average American. You follow it a little closer. If the algorithm even reached you at all, you follow it a little closer.
McCarthy.
So you knew,
Dunn of Florida.
but we need to worry also about what a gas station manager knows, who works,
LZ.
let's say, 14 hours a day and is too tired at the end of the day to listen to any of this. We need the bartender
Escobar.
who only catches this stuff in the
Eshu.
subtitles on a TV that's on mute in his bar. knows.
Espaillat.
This is a blatant demonstration of Republican incompetence, of GOP incompetence. When they are presented with a real challenge, when they're not just bitching at mom and dad and saying, oh, Democrats do this, Democrats do that,
McCarthy.
when they're not just picking on the other kids, finding somebody who can be othered,
Feenstra.
like Muslims or people from Mexico.
McCarthy. Finstad.
They have no ability to accomplish things. When an actual disease came, COVID,
McCarthy.
Trump was actually tested. Utter disaster. He was out there telling us to inject bleach
McCarthy.
and shine a UV light under our skin.
Fleischman.
When Bush was tested at 9/11, what did he do?
Jeffries.
Sacrificed a bunch of American freedoms with the Patriot Act,
McCarthy. Foster.
got us into 20 years of war,
Fushi.
began it with a war with an unrelated country.
McCarthy.
When Republicans are tested, they fail.
Jeffries.
When there's actual problems to solve, Republicans have no ability to solve them
Frost.
because they are soft as hell, first up. They rely entirely on
McCarthy.
corporate donations and lies
McCarthy.
to survive as a party.
Gates.
They're not tough enough for the truth.
Donalds.
They're not tough enough for the truth.
Gallagher.
They're not tough enough for the real world.
McCarthy. Gallego.
Here we see it in action. And fortunately, here the whole of America is seeing it in action. This should be talked about as much as it's being talked about. This should be the lead story for everybody.
Garamendi.
Because not only is it by itself significant, it is
Garbarino.
a perfect example of, it's a microcosm
Garcia.
of what
McCarthy.
Republicans are like when they are in charge.
Jeffries. Garcia of Illinois. Jeffries.
What I'm looking for are the
Garcia of
polls that come out
Texas.
after this with people saying they
Jeffries.
would have voted for Democrats
Jimenez.
if they would have seen this first. If they would have known this was coming.
Golden of Maine. Jeffries. Goldman of New York. Jeffries.
Oh, racking them up, racking them up.
Gomez. Jeffries.
Whoa.
Tony Gonzalez. McCarthy.
What I am trying to listen for is if we get Republicans
Vicente Gonzalez.
jumping ship.
Jeffries. Good of Virginia. Donalds. Gooden of Texas.
The kind of deals that will be made behind the scenes might include some of those Ted Lieu's, some of those, I don't know if there's such a thing as an innocent Republican, but some of those Republicans that don't have the courage or perhaps the viciousness to stay on board with the outright terrorism.
Graves of Louisiana.
They might be talking to Democrats right now. They might be saying, I'm going to go independent and I'm going to vote for Jeffries. This requires them to be in a purple state, certainly, and it better be
Of Missouri.
pretty dark purple,
McCarthy. Green
because they would know they're losing all MAGA support at that point. Yeah.
Green of Texas.
One second.
Jeffries. Green of Georgia.
Interesting.
McCarthy. Griffith. McCarthy. Grijalva.
There are a lot of,
Jeffries.
believe it or not, a lot of
Rothman.
lefties in Texas. Aaron Ra ran for office
McCarthy.
there. His whole stream is
Guest.
a
McCarthy.
critical atheist stream.
Guthrie.
But I
McCarthy.
don't recognize that gentleman that just voted for
Hageman.
Jeffries. Curious
McCarthy.
to know what party he's in.
Carter of California. Jeffries. Harris.
Folks, there is my point.
Donalds.
Before I got distracted there, there is a chance that
Harshbarger.
enough. We only need, what is it, 6? We need
McCarthy.
6
Hayes.
centrist Republicans to say, I do not want to be
Jeffries.
part of the party that is
Kern.
led by MAGA. I don't want to keep getting embarrassed. I don't want to keep spending all my time
Louisiana.
running defense for psychos.
McCarthy.
So,
Higgins of New York. Jeffries.
I always worry about New York Dems. They may be in negotiations right now
Jeffries.
to vote for Jeffries.
Hinson.
I don't think it's terribly likely that we're going to get Jeffries
Jeffries.
as speaker, but the longer this goes on, the more likely it becomes.
McCarthy.
Because it's embarrassing to be a Republican right now. I was most concerned
Jeffries.
last night
Hoyer.
about,
Jeffries.
good
Hoyle
man,
of Oregon.
Steny Hoyer, you don't F me on this.
Jeffries.
I was most concerned last night about Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, yada yada, getting calls from their constituents telling them that they were angry with them for holding things up.
McCarthy.
Looks like either that didn't happen or they didn't pick up the phone,
McCarthy.
which means they really are locked in. They really are going to do this for the long haul.
McCarthy. Ivey.
This couldn't be better for Democrats.
Jeffries.
And I do really want to
Jackson,
stress, no
Illinois.
matter now what happens,
Jeffries.
if a
Jackson of
Republican
North Carolina.
is Speaker of the House, they are going to be led by MAGA. MAGA is
Jackson of
selecting
Texas.
who the Speaker of the House will be.
McCarthy.
If they find a deal. McCarthy's been
Jackson Lee.
losing a couple of votes every time, and every time that makes him look worse. It shows the political will of the traditional
Jeffries.
Republicans, and it's waning. Again, perfect microcosm.
James.
So every time they lose a couple, and MAGA gains a couple,
Jacpo.
it highlights the fact that
Jeffries.
MAGA's going to be in control. They're going to be
Jeffries.
calling the shots.
Jeffries. Johnson of Georgia. Jeffries.
It highlights that MAGA's going to be calling the shots, and it makes it more
Johnson
likely
of Louisiana.
that
McCarthy.
some Republicans are going to say, yeah, I'm switching. This is the moment for
Johnson
me.
of Ohio.
I don't want to be embarrassed anymore.
McCarthy. Johnson of South Dakota.
So that means that right-wingers, traditional
Jordan.
Republicans got to not listen to two
McCarthy.
things at once.
Joyce
Did he
of
just vote
Ohio.
present?
McCarthy. Joyce of Pennsylvania. McCarthy.
But yeah, so traditional Republicans are
Robert Dove.
losing their power, and if they want those MAGA people to vote for somebody, then they have to agree with the MAGA people on who the person other than McCarthy is going to be. That will mean
McCarthy.
that voting bloc
Keating.
appointed
Jeffries.
their choice.
Kelly of
That
Illinois.
choice, who will know that they owe
Jeffries.
their speakership
Kelly of
to
Mississippi.
MAGA,
McCarthy.
will probably have done so having
Kelly of
agreed to be very
Pennsylvania.
pro-MAGA.
McCarthy.
Putting them back on
Khanna.
committees.
Jeffries.
Um,
Kiggins of Virginia.
you're going to have
McCarthy.
MAGA calling most of the shots
Jeffries.
from this point out.
Kylie. McCarthy.
The Republican Party has gone
Schumer.
perhaps to their
Jeffries.
detriment in
Kemp
terms
of
of power.
California.
They have gone more and more
McCarthy.
into the Christian fundamentalism to the point where
Krishnamurthy.
that's basically all the party is. I mean,
Custer.
kind of always was, but
Kristoff. McCarthy.
they're out with it now. They're out front and center.
Hood.
And that's starting to butt up against those in the party who were just there to rob America on behalf of corporations and take a cut for themselves.
LaMalfa. McCarthy.
Fortunately, as you can see up there,
Lamborn.
Democrats are staying strong.
McCarthy.
They are united,
Lansing.
and you'll love to see it. We're going to stay with this. If you're enjoying the stream, please give us a like. I'm a brand new streamer.
McCarthy.
I'm making a go of it. I left corporate media and would
Jeffries.
very much like to make my living
Larson of
giving you the
Connecticut.
news. So if you enjoy Wicked, that stands for what you can do. We also talk about solutions to these problems in America. If you think that's of use,
LaTurner.
give me a like. That would help me out a whole lot. Give me a subscribe if you'd like to hear more.
McCarthy. Lee of California. Jeffries. Lee of Florida. Lee of Florida. McCarthy. Lee of Nevada. Jeffries. Lee of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Ledger Fernandez. Jeffries. Lesko. McCarthy. Letlow. McCarthy. Levin. Jeffries. Liu. Jeffries. Lofgren. Jeffries. Loudermilk. McCarthy. Lucas. McCarthy. Lukemeyer. McCarthy. Luna. Luna. Donalds. Luttrell. McCarthy. Lynch. Jeffries. Mace. McCarthy. Magaziner. Magaziner.
So we just had Ted Lieu vote for
Maliotakis.
Hakeem Jeffries. That is a
McCarthy.
great example of why
Mann.
I believe what I said earlier.
McCarthy.
That it is not necessarily
Manning.
a bad thing if we have
Jeffries.
a bunch of
Massey.
the traditional Republicans vote or switch parties and
Mass.
become Democrats.
McCarthy.
That is a vote for Jeffries
Matsui.
that would have gone 4
Jeffries.
years ago to McCarthy.
McBath. Jeffries. McCarthy.
I do think, though, at the same time, we have to be wary of their ideas infecting the party.
McCall. McCarthy.
We already have a very right-wing Democratic Party.
McLean.
In terms of their actual voting record,
McCarthy.
they vote in favor of big corporations.
McClintock.
I just realized I need
McCarthy.
to add something to the description. I will in a moment.
McCullum.
But I did a video
Jeffries.
on that. We'll get to it in a moment. Democrats
McCormick.
largely vote in favor of big corporations when they
McCarthy.
can.
McGovern.
It's the nature of the game right now.
Jeffries.
They are a
McGarvey.
party that is very much shaped
Jeffries.
by how financing is done in politics.
McHenry.
Within them, we do have the progressives, who are among the only
McCarthy.
groups that are genuinely taking a crack at helping out the American people.
Meeks.
But I don't want to go
Jeffries.
too hard on Democrats today because
Menendez.
there they are up there showing their value.
Jeffries.
Are they bought by corporations?
Mang.
Absolutely.
Jeffries.
But damn it, they can organize.
Muser. McCarthy. Mfume. Jeffries.
I'm going to go look up why they
Miller
they
of
clapped
Illinois.
at that McCarthy vote.
Donalds.
But I can't stress enough that, now at 14,
Miller of Ohio.
McCarthy ain't going to be speaker. Not in this round. And if this is anything like yesterday,
Miller
they're
of
going
Ohio.
to adjourn after this vote. Oh,
Miller of West Virginia.
you do love to see it.
McCarthy. Miller Meeks. McCarthy. Mills. McCarthy. Molinaro. McCarthy. Molinar. McCarthy. Mooney. McCarthy. Moore of Alabama. McCarthy. Moore of Utah. McCarthy. Moore of Wisconsin. Jeffries. Moran. McCarthy. Morelli. Jeffries. Moskowitz. Jeffries. Moulton. Jeffries. Mervan. Jeffries. Mullen. Jeffries. Murphy. McCarthy. Nadler. Jeffries. Napolitano. Jeffries. Neal. Jeffries. Neguse. Jeffries. Nails. McCarthy. Newhouse. McCarthy. Nickel. Jeffries. Norcross. Jeffries. Norman. Donalds. None of Iowa. McCarthy. Obernolte. McCarthy. Ocasio-Cortez. Jeffries. Ogles.
My girl Alexandria, well done.
Donalds.
I want to take you over for a moment
Omar.
while we
Jeffries.
let this shake out a little bit more. We got some more votes to see, a lot to get through.
Pallone.
Look at this here. This is a letter that Matt Gaetz
Palmer.
sent yesterday. I've added a helpful note there so you don't forget who this guy is. Don't think he's a good guy. He ain't. However, this letter, oh boy, this is
Jeffries.
exactly what politicians should be doing. McCarthy moved his stuff in to the speaker's office before the vote even happened. That arrogant little move is being taken advantage of by Matt Gaetz, who said, "Dear Mr. Blanton," guy who would be in charge of booting him out, "I write to inform you that the Speaker of the House office, located in the U.S. Capitol building, is currently occupied by Representative Kevin McCarthy. As of this morning, the 117th Congress adjourned." Good God, I can't even say that. Zindai. And a speaker from the 118th Congress has not been elected. After 3 undeciding votes, God, that is embarrassing for McCarthy, no member can lay claim to this office. What is the basis in law, House rule, or precedent to allow someone who has placed second, lost to Jeffries, ooh, a Democrat, I love it, in 3 successive speaker elections to occupy the Speaker of the House office? How long will he remain there before he is considered a squatter? Oh,
Jeffries.
devastating.
Ramirez.
Devastating. Let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see that. You're still going to get my grape on screen because
Jeffries.
I don't know. I'm no reason actually. Please write back properly, as it seems Mr. McCarthy can no longer be considered Speaker designate following today's balloting. Oh, and I wonder if he's going to get another letter. Also, put known child sex trafficker on there, because I would love nothing more than for Matt Gaetz to sue me so we can have discovery in court about the 17-year-old girl that he apparently
Rosendale.
exchanged Venmo transactions with, soliciting prostitution from her. That aside, he's quite correct. There is no reason McCarthy should have his stuff in that office. In fact, it might behoove him to move it out now, because it's going to be real embarrassing when the cameras see
Donalds.
when the cameras see him having his poor staff. What am I saying? He's not going to do things. He's going to make some kid do it, but still, people that work for him pushing out his stuff on a little trolley cart. Ooh,
Jeffries.
delightful.
Rutherford. McCarthy. Ryan. Jeffries.
Oh, racking them up. Trying to get to
Salazar.
218 for Jeffries. That's the best case scenario for us. If Jeffries gets to
Salazar.
218. Extraordinarily
McCarthy.
unlikely. And it does mean that
McCarthy.
whoever votes for that
Salinas.
is probably looking for a better party to join. And I don't
Jeffries.
blame them.
Sanchez. Jeffries.
Sorry, whoever switches sides to vote for
Santos.
that.
McCarthy.
I'm here now.
Sarbanes.
George
Jeffries.
Santos, who is, of course,
Scalise.
the man who
McCarthy.
invented the slinky. I asked him for his qualifications for office, and he sent me a letter. He did invent the
Jeffries.
slinky, apparently. So, all right, I guess
Tchaikovsky.
credit there.
Jeffries.
He also invented jumping jacks.
Schiff. Jeffries.
So a health nut, apparently.
Schneider. Jeffries. Skolton. Jeffries. Schreier. Jeffries. Schweikert. McCarthy. Scott. Austin Scott. McCarthy.
So in this round, the realistic
David
things
Scott.
we're looking for, does that Donald's
Jeffries.
number grow? Does it become 21
of
instead of
Virginia.
20? Does it go up
Jeffries.
to 24?
Self.
How big is the MAGA block going to
Donalds.
be? That's what it tells us.
Sessions. McCarthy. Sewell.
The tea I'm drinking
Jeffries.
for watching these the downfall of the
Sherman.
Republican Party, it's actually a root beer.
Jeffries.
I love me some specifically Diet A&W root beer. Fantastic.
Cheryl.
Also, as I learned when I was when I had another
Simpson.
job that required I talk into the microphone for a long time,
McCarthy.
it's good for it. Helps the
Slotkin.
helps you not
Jeffries.
cough on camera quite so much.
Smith of Missouri. Smith of Missouri.
Somebody else in the bathroom?
Smith of Nebraska. McCarthy. Smith of New Jersey. McCarthy. Smith of Washington. Jeffries.
I understand Mr. Smith did indeed go to Washington.
Smucker. McCarthy. Sorensen. Jeffries. Soto. Jeffries.
Just racking them up.
Spanberger. Jeffries. Sparks. Sparks.
So I'm doing this live stream because I didn't want to miss a moment of it.
Sansbury.
Fortunately, my streaming setup
Stansbury.
was not set to cover live events, and I had to spend the
Jeffries.
first hour of it desperately trying to make that happen. Next time around, we probably won't have it stuck on
Stanton.
captions the entire time, but
Jeffries.
okay. Oh, Stanton, all right.
Stauber.
But I do intend to do a live stream, a second live stream after this,
Steele.
or possibly
McCarthy.
just record the show and
Stefani.
upload it quickly.
McCarthy. Style.
I believe that was
McCarthy.
Elise Stefanik, who started off middle of the
Stubbe.
road, then went crazy MAGA, and looks like she's going back to
Stevens.
wanting to be with the grown-ups, at
Jeffries.
least, with the grown-up evil people, as opposed to the toddlers with guns.
Stewart. McCarthy.
But yeah, there's going to be a
Strickland.
second show today in some form.
Jeffries.
I simply wanted to cover this live.
Strong.
Also, because at any moment there is a
McCarthy.
chance that you're going to see
Swalwell.
a sea change.
Jeffries.
Less likely late in the day than it
Sykes.
is with the first vote,
Jeffries.
which I believe we will have tomorrow
Takano.
as well. Because I'm
Takano.
fairly certain they're going to adjourn after this. But
Jeffries.
at any moment,
Tenney.
it's possible that
Tenney.
you could get
McCarthy.
enough people jumping ship
Tananar.
that Jeffries
Jeffries.
gets the position.
Thompson of California.
Wouldn't that be something?
Jeffries. Thompson of Mississippi. Jeffries.
Benny Thompson.
Thompson of Pennsylvania.
Good man.
McCarthy. Tiffany. McCarthy.
Remember, we need
Timmons.
218 to get a
McCarthy.
W. Right now, McCarthy cannot get it.
Titus. Jeffries.
Theoretically, Jeffries could.
Tlaib.
Unlikely.
Jeffries.
Rashida Tlaib, she's
Takuda.
she's a Michigander.
Jeffries. Tonko. Jeffries.
From Detroit, actually.
Torres,
We weren't neighbors,
California.
but she
Jeffries.
lived in my area for a while.
Torres of New York. Jeffries.
Oh my gosh.
Trahan. Jeffries.
23 votes away
Trone.
from Jeffries getting it. It's not going to
Jeffries.
happen, but it'd be phenomenal.
Turner.
Nina, come on.
Turner. McCarthy.
Oh,
Underwood.
what?
Jeffries.
Oh, I'm thinking.
Valadez.
He's not in it. Never mind.
McCarthy. Van Drew.
I was thinking about progressives, and that just. I don't know why. I plugged her in as that Turner.
Van
I don't know
Dyne.
who the
McCarthy.
Representative Turner is, though.
Van Orden. McCarthy.
Again, I'm not
Vargas.
actually thinking that Jeffries is going to win this vote.
Jeffries.
If he does, I don't
Vasquez.
deserve credit for predicting that. It's just,
Jeffries.
it's technically a possibility.
VC. Jeffries. Velasquez. Jeffries.
Okay. 15.
Wagner.
Give us 15.
McCarthy.
Come on. Give me a couple of Republicans
McCarthy.
jumping ship. If only to end the embarrassment.
Waltz.
Take 2 weeks of heckling from people that are going to forget about all this because they
Waltz.
only listen to whatever Tucker Carlson tells them. And
Alderman Schultz. Jeffries.
go Jeffries. Just go Jeffries. Just have fun. Just
Waters.
be, have fun with it. Republicans, come on.
Jeffries. Watson Coleman. Jeffries.
There's another thing that's cool about Jeffries winning by
Texas.
this much. Admittedly, he's not, again, he's not going to get
Webster of
most
Florida.
likely the vote today.
McCarthy.
But every time Jeffries
Winstrom.
beats the Republicans,
McCarthy.
it shows that
Westerman.
Democrats can get things done. Shows them as plain and simple winners. And
Wexton.
there's a lot of folks in
Jeffries.
America that just want to get on board with the winners.
Wild. Jeffries. Williams of Georgia. Jeffries. Williams of New York. McCarthy.
Oh, if Jeffries
Williams
somehow
of Texas.
got 9 votes,
McCarthy.
if that randomly happened,
Wilson of Florida.
what you will hear my phone
Jeffries.
going off like crazy because my family will be texting me furious.
Wilson of South Carolina. McCarthy. Whitman. McCarthy. Womack. McCarthy.
So what we are likely to see again is
McCarthy.
that it ends with no speaker confirmed.
Zinke. McCarthy.
It ends with no speaker confirmed, and they're probably going to adjourn again. Looks like they're doing this in groups of 3s. Democrats
The
are
reading
not
clerk will now
interested
call the names
in
of the
rocking this
members
vote, and
elect
rightly so.
who did not answer the first call of the roll.
Bergman. McCarthy.
Don't make fun of the Republicans too much for this. They were, well, heck, everybody was probably doing a lot of wheeling and dealing.
Buck. Buck.
What, did he leave? Is he seeing a movie? Okay.
McCarthy.
Oh, I love it.
Magaziner. Jeffries. Miller of Ohio. McCarthy.
So it looks like the Donalds block is pretty well locked in
Sherrill.
there. They
Jeffries.
stuck by their guns. I think Jeffries got 214 last time. We're looking for 2 more for Jeffries. Does that make
Smith of Missouri.
Democrats haven't
McCarthy.
shaken at all. I don't even remember what it was last time. Doesn't really change the math here, though, because they're not breaking ranks,
Sparks.
and that's what's important.
Present.
Man, that's a guy saying my vote can be bought. Who's got a good offer?
Waltz. McCarthy.
McCarthy, though, it just looks like he ain't gonna get it. He's losing from yesterday to today. He lost progress. I can't imagine that this ends with. Well, I'm saying that I can't imagine this ends with him being speaker. Maybe some deal is made, but I can't imagine that this ends with him having any real power. Because now, in order to get it, he's got to make big promises to those 20 votes. That's a significant block. Frankly, I think what's more likely to happen is you are going to see realistic Republicans get behind the scenes and say, "Okay, MAGA, give us your list." Then they pick the least embarrassing, frankly, of that list, and that's it. Then MAGA's in charge. They will have picked from a MAGA list. That person will have a MAGA favorable agenda. And that is the Republican Party now. It's the only thing they control is the House, so that represents the entirety of the effect they will be able to have in terms of legislation on national politics. So on the first of all, if you enjoy live coverage of political events like this, if you enjoy good quality leftist content, I would very much appreciate a like. And if you'd like to hear more from your old pal Jake, subscribe as well. I'm a brand new channel. Very much enjoying being in the game for however long this lasts. Man, there's a possible next Speaker of the House chatting with Lauren Boebert. Just remember who these people are. But if you're enjoying it, I would appreciate a like and subscribe very much. I'm going to be doing another show following this stream where it's a little bit more focused on the news of the day, talking about a wonderful thing from Rebel headquarters. And I think J.R. Jackson was featured this time. Delightful.
And on your screen is Representative Byron Donalds of Florida.
Let's hear
Again,
C-SPAN.
he got 20 votes for Speaker, sitting there with Congresswoman Boebert, I believe. And the results are the same as they were last time. They're not official yet, but we'll get that tally in just a few minutes. 212 for Hakeem Jeffries. Every Democrat votes with him. 201 for Kevin McCarthy, 20 for Byron Donalds,
Beautiful.
and
Same as
one
before.
present vote. Again, Victoria Sparks, Republican of Indiana. Now, Sarah Ferris of Politico is saying that she's hearing that the Democrats will be willing to let the House adjourn for GOP conference. Plan had been to allow votes to continue until around 5 p.m. It's almost 4:30 here on the East
But you
Coast.
know they're not going to
And
work a
Jake
full
Sherman
day.
of Punchbowl News. At this point, House Republicans are discussing trying to adjourn until 8 p.m. this evening. Now, on this sixth vote, we're waiting for the official results.
Until
but
8
that
p.m.
tally you see
You're going
on
to try it
the left
again, huh?
is probably accurate, but we'll
That means
get
they're
that
sick
in
of being
just a few
embarrassed.
minutes.
If they're willing to come back to work, they're sick of being embarrassed. They're getting made fun of. Oh, I'm so proud of Democrats. It's a rare thing for me to say. I am so proud of them. Nobody jumped ship. You didn't have anybody who was a Republican 8 months ago voting with Republicans after having been promised, I don't know, $2,000. Just a straight up $2,000 cash bribe. That wouldn't surprise me at this point. No, they are all on board. And by the way, speaks to Hakeem Jeffries, his competence. He is not Speaker of the House. He may not be Speaker of the House, but he is in leadership among the Democrats. They have decided he's going to be the guy they put in charge here. Which means he's doing some talking behind the scenes. He's doing some negotiation. And credit needs to be given. I'm sure Pelosi also had her hand in this significantly. But credit does need to be given to Jeffries. The man appears to be overseeing a party that is organized, that has their business correct. AOC gave a wonderful, by the way, interview yesterday. We're going to show that on the show today. I don't want to miss them adjourning. Will we do it now? Nah. It's 4:26. I think they're likely about to adjourn. They were supposed to go till 5, as the C-SPAN just said. There's no point, though. They have to, what they're doing now, they would prefer to do off camera, more frankly. So, I don't see a point to staying in the room until 5. And if there isn't a point, they are going to scramble out of there. They're no different than you. Like, you know how you get to the end of your workday and you're like, I'm done with this. I want to go home. That's them too. You might think a sense of serving the American people would keep them there. You would only be right if you were talking about progressives. And even then, everybody gets sick of being at work. So, remember, these are real human beings, and they're eager to go.
And we are awaiting the official results for the sixth ballot for Speaker. And as we wait, we're looking at some of the members politicking in the chamber. Now, regular viewers of the House will recognize that these shots are a bit unusual. House of Representatives has allowed C-SPAN to bring its own cameras in during the opening
C-SPAN.
of the Congress for the last couple of openings. And these are C-SPAN cameras taking all these different shots that you see. They're not the standard House-controlled cameras that you usually see on each side and focused on a speaker. So we're able to get a little bit more flavor and a few more shots from the floor of the House in different angles, etc., like these. And again, C-SPAN has 3 cameras in there for the opening of the Congress, and this is something we don't normally get to have, and so we're trying to take advantage of it and make sure to show a lot of different shots. The other networks are also using our cameras as well.
So's your old pal Jake. Let me give you a bit of Santos news if while we're waiting on this here. The Brazilians are coming for him. He illegally wrote a $700 check. It was a stolen checkbook. Had a court case about it. He'd already admitted to doing it. He had a court case about it in Brazil. Luta Libre. And he scrammed. Which, you know what? All right, this is when he was 25. It was a decade ago. But they suspended the case. Not dropped, but suspended it because they couldn't find him. Well, he turned up, didn't he? In the United States of America, very publicly. They did the full-on Leonardo DiCaprio. Ooh, ooh. Now they're coming for him. We do extradite to Brazil. We are not going to extradite a representative. But man, it's very funny. And I would love it if we actually got the chutzpah to say, yeah, he broke the law. We're tossing him over there. I'd love it. So, stand by. Notes for later. So, I'm fairly confident that they are... Oh, are they adjourning right now? I'm fairly confident they're going to adjourn.
The tellers agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 433, of which the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 212.
W after W, 4 Ds. You love it. You love to see it. I mean, Democrats have their together. Excellent.
The Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California has received 201.
Less than Jeffries.
The Honorable Byron Donalds of the state of Florida has received 20.
It's static. That's the block.
With one member as present.
Surprised nobody has said it's rigged yet.
No member-elect having received the majority
They'll
of the
find a
votes
way.
cast, a speaker has not been elected. For what purpose does the gentleman from Oklahoma rise?
I move that we adjourn until 8 o'clock this evening.
The question is on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
Is a member demanding the A's and A's?
Is a member demanding the A's and A's?
Okay, motion is adopted.
The motion is adopted.
So they wanted to make a lot of noise.
The House stands adjourned until 8 p.m. tonight.
Didn't actually want to count hands, huh? Okay. Folks, I'm going to do this at 8 p.m. tonight. I'll tell you what, this is way too much fun. The Schadenfreude is, I can't say that word, I have no idea how, but it's amazing. It's so good. If you enjoyed this stream thus far, give me a like. I'd sure appreciate it. It makes a huge difference to me. I'm a brand new channel. Subscribe, certainly. I'll be here at 8 tonight because it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm also going to be doing a stream in between now and then. And I hope you'll give that a watch as well. Again, I apologize for my mustache. I made a choice with the beard trimmer. It was regrettable. All you can do is own up to it. I assure you I am not a highway patrolman in the early 80s. This has been a great day for Democrats. Again, we've done a... They have shown the American people that they can organize. They can legislate. You can trust them to be in charge. You can't trust them not to bow down to corporations, sure. But you sure can trust them to run the government, for God's sake. The day-to-day operations can actually get done when Democrats are doing them. Oh, let's pretty please transition out. There we are. It's been great for Democrats because they've shown themselves to be a grown group of adults, or a group of grown adults, whereas Republicans have shown themselves to be what they are, a self-serving, chaotic mess. This is healthy. This is very healthy for America because we have seen what Republicans are like when they actually have to react to serious issues. How did they handle 9/11? They got us into 2 decades of war. By the way, a Democrat is the guy that actually got bin Laden, the person who orchestrated 9/11. That's right. Barack Obama was the president. He gave the okay on the operation that got bin Laden. So every time a problem crops up in the U.S., while Republicans are in charge, you have to wait for Democrats to get in charge for it to get fixed. How is this problem in America going to get fixed? Probably Democrats. It's a good lesson for Americans to learn. I am a avid heckler of the Democratic Party as a whole. I will not cease being that, but I will also give them credit when it is due. And for this, they deserve credit. Progressives, corporate Dems, the whole Big Ten, stuck together. Hakeem Jeffries has got the majority of votes, or rather, has got the most votes every single round. 6 rounds now. Let's try to get some of the redeemable, slightly Republicans to jump ship, join a real party full of grown-ups. Let's get Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. It just occurred to me, if you live in a state, if you live in a district that has one of these Republicans, if you live in a very purple district, write them and tell them that you want them to join the grown-up party, that you're sick of being embarrassed by the R, that you support them, even if you don't. Tell them you support them, but you want them to be a Democrat, because we only need 6. We only need 6 to switch sides. I'm going to get working on the show that's going up in a few minutes, which will require me to take down this current live stream. So be ready for that. I was delighted that you joined me today. Thank you so much. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you're feeling generous, this has been Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake.